Sitting here letting my truck warm up for a minute, and I had a couple thoughts I wanted to share. Some more thoughts. Surprise, surprise. Hopefully I don't repeat myself. Heidi says I repeated myself a bunch yesterday when I did my little video yesterday. Anyway, so something I like to share with people, whether they're a Christian or an atheist or some other belief system, ideology, was that when I was growing up, struggling with trying to figure out if there was a God or wasn't a God, and generally existing within a belief system that was like atheism. But I never gave up the hope that there was a God, and a good God. But with a lot of our bad behaviors as Christians, we don't shed a positive light on the Creator and who He really is. And you know, my mom and dad taught me a lot of the stories, beautiful stories of Jesus in the Gospels, and other stories too, but those really hung on to my mind. And I met a lot of people who were just good people, who chose to do things because they valued goodness and morality and upright living, and they were compassionate and kind, and that was really encouraging to me. But I struggle from what society or mental health industry or whatever considers, and I'm not demeaning that, I'm just generalizing my definition, defines as like learning disabilities, learning challenges, whatever you want to say, whether it was I was not taught or what was available in the educational system was not fitting to my personality, and I don't quite think in the same boxes as mainstream individuals do. And I think that's actually generally the case with a lot of people, is none of us fit into a box, but some of us are just better at getting through what is culturally defined for us to learn through, the mechanisms we decided we're learned through. Anyway, so growing up, I always felt like I struggled socially and in a lot of other ways, navigating society and life and whatnot. And I remember there would be people that I respected, that I would kind of assimilate their belief system or their way of handling situations, and I would look for people who were quote unquote normal and that seemed to be successful, again, in certain sectors of life, areas where I thought I was struggling, and I try to emulate their behavior and assimilate it into my life. And inevitably everybody fails you, and that would be very discouraging me. And so then inevitably I would look for someone else to try to subscribe to their methods of navigating life and whatnot. Anyway, I remembered at some point, and I don't remember when this was, I've tried to remember several times, but I don't know, may have been in my teens or early 20s, but I remember thinking that the only person that I know, like, throughout history that I could think of, who hadn't failed anyone or hadn't done something that people questioned, whether or not that was good or bad or otherwise. So in my mind was very successful throughout their lifetime, and that was the stories, based upon the stories of Jesus, specifically in the Gospels. And so at some point I remember thinking, I don't know, compassion has always been my mantra, and I remember thinking, I don't know anybody who's lived a more compassionate life or made more of a difference in people's lives like I would like to. And so I decided, if that's the case, then maybe I'll just model my life on that. And so for many years, even though I wasn't a Christian, I modeled a lot of my behavior, or used that as instruction to model my behavior. And obviously I failed in many ways at emulating it as perfectly as he did. But I've had people ask me, like, what if God doesn't exist? And it's a really good question. What if God doesn't exist? you know, Paul in the Bible says, if, you know, none of this is true, then go out and get drunk and have a good time. Well, I used to go out and get drunk and have a good time, and I'm, you know, embarrassed at some of the things I did when I did that, and I certainly wasn't helping myself or anyone else when I did. But I really was, I think I was able to navigate as successfully as I did, because I had those images of Christ and what he did to encourage my behavior in a positive way, and I was as successful as I was because of that. And so anyway, I you know, I was talking to my wife a few years ago, and we were talking about, what if God doesn't exist? And I told her what I had thought for many years, and that was, you know, even if God doesn't exist, if it's all a figment, if it's not true, I really, after looking at so many different world religions, even if he didn't, it's a lifestyle worth emulating. And so to this day, even when, you know, I have moments of struggling, I still am like, you know what, this is the course I want to be on. And it's really been fundamental to me and encouraging, and it's how I'm able to handle a lot of what life swings at me and my family. And so anyway, just some thoughts to think about. Hope you're having a somewhat decent day, and know that you're loved. I know there's people that love you, whoever you are, and I care about you. May not know you that well, but I care about you, and give me, you know, a little bit of time. I'm sure I could care about. You know, we all have struggles, and I have a heart for people who struggle. So hope you can put a smile on today and be of good courage, and be blessed. Cheers. Bye.